Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start with a story about ancient times with slow internet, where our OP worked in the engineering department. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. The $15,000 equipment is too expensive for your department to purchase? Okay. Back in the days when 33.6 kilobyte per second modems were hot crap, I worked for the engineering department of a growing company. This company had started small, it was privately owned, and the VPs had all put in a portion of their own money to start the company. By the time in this story, they were finally making a respectable $30 to $40 million a year in profits. But they still acted like a small company, penny pinching. Our engineering department was designing circuit boards with embedded computer systems, and to program these, instead of soldering the microcomputer to the board, we would solder on a microcontroller socket and then plug in an in-circuit emulator that would pretend it was a microcontroller and allow the programmer to create the required program. This in-circuit emulator, or ICE, was made by Hitachi. It plugged into a free PCI slot on your PC and had a ribbon cable that would attach to the specialized microcontroller die that plugged into the socket. It was a mess. It gave our tiny IT department headaches, and it cost $15,000, and it was an absolute necessity for most of our most popular product lines, and there was only one of them. And we were renting it. It cost $4,000 a month. The first month we had it, our CTO and marketing VP planned our whole new product line around this family of microcontrollers. So at the end of the month, us engineers asked management to buy this for us since we'd be using it for a while. The engineering VP saw the price tag and told us to just rent it. Surely we would be done with it soon. Engineers, being practical, forgot about the objection and just put our noses to the wheel. The CTO and marketing made plans to keep us busy using this microcontroller line for a while. They pre-ordered a few million chips. After a year, the VP of Finance asked about this recurring contract line item. They called the engineer who had originally started the contract. The engineer helpfully forwarded the approval from the engineering VP and his later email asking to buy it, and the VP's reply where he demurred. By the end of the week, this toy was ours, along with a second one, since finance determined that product rollout was being affected by not enough access to the equipment. Hitachi just gave us the first one, stopped charging us, and never asked for it back. We paid $15,000 for a second one. No one got fired or demoted, but at the next department meeting, the engineering VP tried to tell us that we didn't have enough money to upgrade our PCs. That one engineer spoke up. Would $40,000 cover it? The company found the money. And our second story. I can find you too. One day my cousin was off shift and in his civilian clothing. He was simply shopping for groceries at the supermarket that evening. Once he left the supermarket, he went back to his car and loaded the trunk with his groceries. He proceeded to put the key in the ignition and start the car. Before he was able to exit his parking space, he got blocked by another car, meaning to stop him from leaving his parking spot. Then comes a guy who was trying to confront my cousin, knocked on his window and ordered him to step out of the vehicle while flashing a badge. Turns out he's an undercover cop in civilian clothes driving in an unmarked vehicle. My cousin complied and stepped out. Jerk. Seems that you have quite a beast of a ride there, my friend. Cousin. It's only a family SUV, officer. Jerk. I'm not quite sure about that. I heard some unusual sounds from your engine as you pull over. I suspect you might have installed some illegal performance modifications on your vehicle. Cousin. I assure you I haven't. My car's in perfect stock condition. Jerk. Well, I had to make sure, so I waited for you until you got back to turn the ignition again. And I do believe there might be a few modifications to your car now that I heard it again. Cousin. I'm pretty confident that I did not install any modifications on my car. Feel free to check under the hood. My cousin pops the hood open. Jerk. Well, what do we have here? You modified your air intake system. Cousin. That's a stock intake. What makes you think that this is a modified one? Now my cousin is starting to get PO'd at him and questioning his competence at what he's claiming to know. Cousin. Look, dude, I'm not even sure you know what you're talking about here. Jerk. Oh, I know. I knew it since I heard your unusual engine. I know you're packing. Cousin. Why would anyone modify a family SUV like it was a street race car? Jerk. I don't know, you tell me. Anyway, I'm issuing you a ticket for this. Cousin. You're issuing me a ticket for something you clearly are not experienced in? Look, buddy, you're trying to plant fictional modifications in my car, and I have the hood wide open for you, so please drop the act or call in another officer who has more experience than you in these matters. Jerk. I don't think that's necessary. I'm pretty confident your air intake is modified, and I am experienced enough in these matters. The jerk officer now proceeds to head back to his car to grab out the ticket book. This is where the sweet revenge starts. Cousin is furious and decides to retaliate. Cousin heads back to his car as well to grab his own ticket book. When they were facing each other again, the jerk was surprised to see a ticket book in Cousin's hands. Jerk. Oh, what's happening here? Cousin. I'm writing you a ticket too. Jerk. Wait, you're an officer too? And what are you writing me for? Cousin. Yes, I'm a parking officer. I'm writing a ticket for illegal parking in a driveway and obstructing a parking space and the exit of other vehicles. Jerk. I'm not doing that. I'm right here by my car, and I'm available to move it out of the way. I'm only obstructing your exit to carry out my duty until I issue a violation. Cousin. You're not allowed to do that unless you're in a government vehicle. Jerk. This is a government vehicle. Cousin. It is not. It's a civilian car with a public license plate. Sorry, the government vehicle exemption doesn't apply to you in this case. The fine's coming out of your pocket, buddy. Jerk. I'm just going to appeal to court about this. The government will waive the ticket. Cousin. You try to do that, buddy. If it works, you're welcome to come back to me and spit in my face. Cousin. Here's what's going to happen. You take your ticket to court, you plead not guilty on account that I can't find a government vehicle. The rules for undercover cops is that if you're in an unmarked vehicle, they're fully responsible for any accidents or violations as long as you have your sirens hidden and dispatch haven't sent you, which is true in my country. The car is currently treated as a civilian car since those conditions don't apply, therefore you are responsible for this violation. As for my ticket, I'm going to appeal to court as well. The court will assign another experienced officer to inspect my car. Since I'm confident that I didn't modify my car in any way and you're full of crap, I'm getting this ticket waived. This will also possibly get reported and posted in your file at your police station for falsifying violations. My guess is that you're just trying to fill a ticket quota for a promotion or something. I don't know. I don't care. All I know is you effed with the wrong guy. The jerk officer's face was reddening with anger, and my cousin shoved his ticket in his hand and tried to grab the one out of his. Jerk was reluctant in handing out the ticket, seeing that the outcome was going to backfire on him. So my cousin yanked it out of his hand and went inside his vehicle. Cousin rolls down the window. If you'll excuse me now, I need you to move your vehicle. I have a wife and a baby son waiting to be fed. Jerk was mumbling as he walked to his vehicle, while my cousin left smiling. And our last story. Don't piss off your farmer neighbor. You may have to pay for it. So this didn't happen to me, but an attorney that I work with regularly as part of my job. He moved from a very high COL area to our rural community, sold his $2 million house, paid off and inherited from his grandparents, and bought 50-plus acres with a huge house and a bedroom community that has lots of dairy farms. He always used to say how it was much better living up here, both in terms of the lifestyle and monetarily, as his urban $2 million house had property taxes in excess of $40,000 a year. Now, in addition to the huge house, the property was mostly fields, 40-ish acres, and had a 10-acre or so large woodlot. After he moved into his new house, the attorney was approached by his neighbor, one of the area dairy farmers. The farmer told the attorney how he had a handshake agreement with the former owner of the attorney's home/property. The farmer would mow the fields for hay 2 to 3 times per year and would harvest a sustainable amount of trees out of the woodlot. In exchange, the former property owner got 10% of the chopped wood, which was more than enough to heat the house all year long without having to run the oil boiler for anything more than hot water. The farmer wanted to keep this arrangement going as it had worked out well for both parties for over a decade. The attorney thought the former owner was being taken advantage of and refused to do a handshake agreement, but told the farmer to give him a week to draw up a proper contract. The farmer was not overjoyed with making this out to be more than a gentleman's agreement, but agreed to come back the following week. The attorney decided that what would be fair was that the farmer should pay him $1,000 each time he mowed the fields for hay, since the farmer would feed the hay to his cows for free otherwise, completely ignoring that the farmer was using his own equipment and time to do the haying, and that the lawyer deserved 50% of the chopped wood, not 10%, or at least 50% of the revenue the farmer got from selling the excess chopped wood. Again, ignoring the equipment and time invested of the farmer. As you can guess, the farmer refused. This all happened in late 2019 when the fields were rather bare and the supply of chopped wood for the house was full. Well, here comes 2020, and now the fields start to look like garbage because none of the other farmers will pay to hay the fields. In fact, after speaking with the first farmer, all of the other area farmers are unwilling to mow the fields unless the attorney pays them $1,000 per mowing. And of course, come wintertime, the attorney's wood pile is depleted, and he has to use the oil boiler to heat his entire home, costing well over $300 a month in winter heating costs. Now we come to early 2021 tax prep season. The farmer, being a good and dutiful community-minded citizen, informs the town that he did not cultivate any of the attorney's land for the entirety of 2020, nor did he know of any other farmers who did. Well, as it turns out, this is a big deal, because in our state, farmland is assessed at a much lower value than residential property, and additionally has a separate and lower tax rate. The attorney's land had previously been entirely zoned as farmland except for the house and a few acres of lawn around it. Now the town sent out an assessor and rezoned the entire 50-plus acres as residential, which more than tripled the taxable property value and imposed the residential tax rate rather than the much lower farm tax rate. The attorney was quite surprised and furiously told me and everyone else we work with all this past week how he's going to sue the town because they now expect him to pay $50,000 a year in property taxes. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.